Okay, I'm going to take this Hanau apart, disassemble it the way I've been doing it to clean it. So all the functional parts will come apart. It won't be 100% apart because I'm not going to drive out anything that won't come out. But for cleaning purposes, this should do it. Okay, start out by taking off all the thumb screws. These two in particular are made to not come off unless they've already been off. Some of them, if they've been off, you can unscrew them by hand. If they haven't, you have to take vice grips to put on there to take that off, and kind of mashes up the brass on it, and it doesn't really need to come off. These particular ones do on this old one, so I'll take those off, and all that's going to do is make it so I can take this wing off to clean in these condyles a little better. From there, this screw has to come out. You'll see that there's a tiny little washer that goes on the outside of the wing. There's another one that's on the inside of the wing. That screw comes out. That washer comes off. There's a washer that was behind that wing that the screw went into. And you'll see that there's an additional one right here that acts as a spacer. From there, there's a little screw that goes in the end of this center post. That's for adapting the face bow that goes to this Hanau H2. We don't use a face bow anymore, we use an ear bow. So these generally don't do much, especially when it's worn down like that. The ball will actually slip right through it, so it's not doing anything at all other than keeping crud from getting in there. So that just comes out. Okay. Incisal table. Big nut comes off the bottom. There should be a spring underneath it, unless somebody's lost it because they took it off thinking it acted like a panadint. That spring comes out of there. Table comes off. Turn this 90 degrees. Pulls that out. I open these wings up, so that when I put it in the cleaner, it can get the crud out of there and clean in underneath those. Okay, now the main posts have a screw going up in them here from the bottom. A lot of times people have gotten this area full of wax and plaster. This particular model has a Allen plug in there. Most of them don't. So I've got to take an Allen wrench and pull that out of there before I can get that screw out. But it is nice not to have that thing totally plugged up with wax and plaster. Okay, now it takes a long screwdriver to go up in here. Most of these old ones are a flat blade. Some of the new ones take a Phillips head screwdriver, a number 2, which will go up in there. You don't know because you can't see it. You got to go up in there and feel for it. And there it dropped into the slot. There's also a spring that's inside there, so you don't, when you put these together, you don't tighten it all the way down. There was water stuck in there, held in by the plug. Now these condylar posts should come out. And this one is frozen slightly. That one's coming out. and that comes out like that. The screw that's in there, you got to push it out like that. The spring, sometimes it falls out, other times you couldn't get it out if you wanted to. So you just have to pay attention. So that goes in there. This will come out with 2 screws if you needed to, but generally doesn't do much. I haven't been taking those out unless it was all plugged full of stuff. Now, these posts get bent, and then it doesn't act properly. To get those out, also to adjust them, you have to take out this, or loosen up this little set screw. It takes a straight screwdriver slot, so I just loosen that up a couple turns. From there you put on a 7/32 wrench and unscrew this. This is also what adjusts the side shift, how far you screw this in or out. But it just is threaded and screws in there and comes out that way. So you may or may not have to take that off. It would only be if they're bent, and you can check and see if they rotate true, then you're okay. If they're bent, you'll be able to see it. And usually these screws that came out of here won't want to come out very good when it's bent. And that's it. That's all we need to take apart. So I'll clean this up with some orange solvent, and then all in these areas and down in here in these posts, and then it all will go in the ultrasonic cleaner and clean it up, and we'll put it back together.